Okay, so got stuck on making these quick connection videos. It's stuff that could be thrown in others, but let's just continue with this. We're going to try to show a connection here with Romulus and Remus of Rome, with Osiris, with Moses himself, and Sargon the Great. One would think I probably could make a good connection on there, but this showing comparative situations, it's pretty easy to end up showing it. How does this happen? How you could connect Romulus, the founders of Rome, Moses, the founder of another group of people we know of the Bible, Osiris, a founding myth in Egyptians, and Sargon the Great, another founding mythology of the Akkadians, or Akkad itself. Well, if we look at these connections between that or Moses, Osiris, it seems to involve a basket or this journey down a river that strangely gets taken by somebody in a figure, and it's usually because they're being pursued by a male figure. The threatening male figure of some type. Usually it's to avoid persecution or death. It's even taken in a part of the Jesus story, and the idea of going across a river. But how could you connect Moses, Osiris, and Romulus and Remus, even Sargon the Great? Well, Rhea here actually takes Romulus and Remus, and to protect them actually from this King Aemilius, she cast them into a basket, sent down the Tiber River to be raised by a she-wolf. That's also a Celtic connection, but also from Scythians from the west, keeping him safe from the evil King Aemilius by Rhea, who is a goddess and princess and a primordial goddess eventually in their times of things, and the pantheon that comes along out of that. How could you get this out of Osiris and this idea of Seth? Well, Seth captures the Egyptian Osiris in the myth into a perfectly made afterlife sarcophagus, so this also has to do with rebirth. And then he's sent down the Nile, eventually found by Isis in a column that was birthed out of a tree idea. So this has a lot to do with an idea that's very similar, although it's not quite a basket, is it? But she's eventually found by Isis in a column in a Phoenician or Canaanite, and also this shows a founding myth that connects them to that, just like the Tales of Egyptus and so on does. But where can we get Moses out of? Well, Moses was also sent down the Nile in a basket to avoid king's wrath, only to be found by Pharaoh's daughter himself, a princess, as you see in the depiction here. So, whenever this idea comes across of a kid being found in a basket, there are far too many people claiming this basket birth, aren't there? But it's really like an ark, for we've looked at an ark, and an ark is a coracle. They talk about how they seal it with bitumen, and while it looks like a small thing that could just hold a baby, in an idea, it's a giant ship, or perhaps many ships, holding many a people, not just one. But it looks like it's just one, or is said so in a way that connects it to mythology and is able to target that person into a pantheon. I've showed how this connection works a few other times, but so this is from Upper Egypt, where this comes to, because he's washing down the Nile, of course, and so it washes down the Nile above where the Pharaoh is, and bam, gets that. But then she raises it. Also other connections where Seth being a redhead and like Esau, where there's a stolen heritage going on, but don't need to make that connection either. Let's just go on to the last one with Sargon of Akkad. You see, in this founding myth they have of the Akkadian Empire that eventually took over the Sumerians we always talk about, was also floated down a river, which is the Euphrates, and to avoid a concubine's illegitimate firstborn son of a king being killed, who becomes a founding ruler eventually, and a holotype. And I have to ask you if you really think that whenever all these people have these common symbologies, which I've shown you that are very much like Christmas tales and rebirth and sun gods and so on, or it shows you something like this, if you think that it's just a coincidence, that one A and B are just a coincidence, that A, B, and C are somehow just a coincidence, that A, B, C, and D could somehow be just a coincidence. Or is this connections to an earlier time and an ideal that people had in a variation on a theme that they used in a common mythology of a common people? I'll let you decide. Let me know what you think down below. Peace.